Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be pruning up my Norfolk Island Pine forest, and I'm going to be giving you some updates on the greenhouse. I've left the forest to grow for the entire summer, and it's grown really well. There's a lot of new shoots in here, and I can see a lot of roots in the pot. Here's a look at one of the roots that's grown across the surface of the soil here. So that's exciting. It means that the root system's growing well, and when the root system grows well, so does the top of the tree. There was something on the tree here which I was thinking, well, is that a cone? So I looked up what the Norfolk Island Pine cones look like, and they're kind of a sphere, like a regular pine cone with ridges around them. So I think this is an egg sac for maybe a praying mantis or a chrysalid for a moth or something. I don't think it's part of the tree. The Norfolk Island Pine is called the triangle tree. In nature, a mature tree forms a conical shape, and that's what I'll be pruning these to. Here's a look at the top of the tree, and you can see this is the natural leader right here. So if I wanted to reduce the tree in height, I would have to find a suitable branch that I wanted to grow as a new leader. So maybe this one would be a good choice. And then I could prune this one off, and that's what I'll do. So I'm pruning the old leader off, like that. Keeping this as the new leader. There's two branches here that have grown really large. So a lot of people have asked me, well, how do I prune these big fan-shaped branches? So I just prune them back. You treat each frond of the leaf cluster as a branch, and you just prune them back like that. So that makes that really compact. So I'll do this one too. I'll prune it the length off here. This one a little longer towards the back. And then the branches get a little shorter as you come out to the tip. That creates that sort of triangular form to the branch. Now there's a branch here that's kind of comes straight up and overhangs the other branches, which isn't very good. So I'm going to take that one right off. Actually, I'm going to prune it back really short and see what happens, like that. And then I'll prune this other branch up, so I'll keep my tip there, prune it back here, and to there. So that gets that pruned up. Now there is a new branch growing here. I'll just prune it off, tip off, like that. So that's got the apex fairly compact on this tree. There's a branch here I can prune back. You have to make sure each branch has sunlight. This one could be pruned back just a bit, like that. So that's got that apex in pretty good shape on this tree. I'll continue pruning up all the other trees, getting the apex nice and tight. So here I go. So the other tree here, it's got to be shorter than the tree out front. So I'm going to prune it back to a new leader here, taking the tip off. I'll prune that tip back and prune my upper branches back. Keeping a little bit of the original branching if I can. I'll have to see when I take an overall look at it if they're still too long or not. So just clip and grow, pruning on them. Making sure each branch has a spot of sunlight when viewed from above. So this tree, it's dividing into two here. It's got kind of a fork. So I think I want to keep it as a triangle shaped tree. There's nothing wrong with having, two leaders come up, but it's not what I'm after in this planting. So I'm going to get rid of I'm going to keep my straightest apex and get rid of the one that's on a slant. So I'll just take it off here. So taking that entire part off, just leaving a bit of that branch as a side branch. Now, there's another apex growing up here from this lower branch. So I'll have to prune that back as a side branch also. So I'll have to take the top off it right here, like that. that kind of gets that pruned up. I'm thinking maybe some of these branches in the upper apex are still too long. I'm going to prune them back a little shorter. I don't want them that large. So some fairly hard pruning here too. I'm going to go back nice and compact. Well, that's better. I may even shorten these even more. I think I will. They're still too long. I'll lose all my branching, but that's okay. New branches will grow. That gets that apex more triangular, a little tighter. So once you have the apex pruned back like that, then it's just a matter of going down the tree, keeping that conical form. Okay, so I'll be rotating this around as I work on it. I think I'll prune this third tree here next. Now this one I've got a lot of, the trunk comes up and it divides into many branches at this one point, kind of like almost a broom style, so I don't want that. So I've got to take some of this upright growth off. So I've got to look and see which is my most logical straight leader, which is the one out front, which is this one right here. So all these other ones have to be pruned back. So fairly major cut. So here I go. I'm going to take the whole top off this one, like that. So you can see what that did. And there's another branch here that has a leader coming up that needs to be taken off, like that. So I still kind of have a cluster of branches here that I may have to clean up. I may have to remove them totally in the future. I'm not sure. There's a dead branch here I'll remove. It's gone yellow from lack of light. And then this tree I've got to prune up. This is sort of the tree that's getting towards the back, and I don't want it that tall because I want kind of forced perspective in the planting. So I'm going to reduce it back to, I think, if you look from the side view, there's a double kind of trunk coming up. I can keep the one out front and remove the back one, so I'll do that. So here I go. I'll make a flush cut with the trunk, taking the whole top off that tree, keeping that trunk line that's out front. This tree here also has a double apex. You can see it comes up to a fork here. So I'm going to pick my straightest one, which is the one out front, and remove the back one. So here I go. Taking the top off, reduce these branches back. So that one is also getting very tall, this tree here. I'm going to have to prune that back. So I think I'll try here. Taking the top off, see if that's a good height. It's not bad. And I'll shorten these upper branches. Trying to cut between the needles. I'm going to take that back shorter. Like that. So the one on the end here is still a little tall. If we're trying to get that overall asymmetrical triangle shape to the forest, I'm going to have to take it quite far back, right back to here. Taking the whole top off, like that. And then I'll shorten the apex, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's got the 5 main trees out front, kind of pruned up to the right profile. I've got all these ones in the back still that I've got to do. A lot of these are cuttings that are rooted. Here's a dead branch I'll take off. Yeah, I'll come out front and have a look at it all now. I had a look at the forest from the front at the distance, and I think the overall shape is quite pleasing. It looks good. It even looks good, these kind of longer branches trailing off here. I will shorten these a little bit, but not a whole lot. There. There. Like that. So now I've got to deal with all these trees in the back. So I've got to keep my triangular silhouette. So If you look from the side view, the tallest tree's up here, and I want them getting shorter as you go towards the rear of the forest, and that gives forest perspective to the planting. So I'll prune this one off here, just taking the tip off, reducing the height a bit. I'll reduce these branches back on the apex here. Now, at the apex of this tree, I've got several branches coming up, kind of, again, like a broom style, that I'll have to reduce back. Pruning back to that conical form. Like that, that's got that apex quite nice. The next tree, I've got a double apex there, so it divides. I'm going to keep the one that's more vertical and prune this one at the back totally off. So here I go, taking that one right off, and then just shortening everything. So I'm going to replace the current leader here with this branch that's further down. So here I go, I'll cut the leader off like that, and then reduce the leader like that. And then I'll prune them for that conical shape, which is quite easy to do. You just gotta prune them nice and tight at the apex, and then just have them getting shorter, or have them getting longer and longer as they go down. A lot of crossing branches that we're shading out. Some of the other branches lower down, so it's good to clean them out like this to get light to everything. Keep the trees more compact. Again, pruning for the future. Okay, getting there. So the main tree here still has a strong side branch, so I'm going to reduce the height of that side branch. There's a bit of an apex on it. I'll take it back to a more horizontal shoot, like that, taking that off. On this lower branch, I have a vertical kind of apex. I'll take that off also, like that. And then I've just got to reduce all these branches back, making them more compact. So I have this rock here to kind of straighten this tree out. So I've got to move it. It's a bit out of position. Like that. Now you can see all the trunks nicely. And then I think the rock at the back was to straighten these trees out. You really have to keep the inner branches pruned, otherwise the branches will crisscross each other and you'll get very dense in the interior of the forest, and no light will, reach down to the lower branches. So you've got to keep the trees kind of pruned into a tight conical shape. So it's getting there. If you look at the forest now, it's slowly getting there. There's a branch here I'm going to remove. It's facing another tree, kind of cluttering up the interior of the forest. Another one here I can shorten. Actually, that one can be removed. Okay, so there's something still going on with this one. I reduced the apex here, but I haven't reduced this branch back yet, so I'll do that. Like that. That looks better. I think this one sticking out front is a bit too long. I'm going to reduce that back. This one too. This one at the back is a little tall. I'm going to reduce the apex right back to here. Okay, so from the side view, you can see how the shortest trees are at the back, getting taller towards the front. And then from the front view, you can see that roughly asymmetrical triangular shape to the overall forest. Another thing is that the lowest branches at the front are higher, and as you get to these back trees, the lower branches get lower and lower. So the back trees look like a miniature version of the front trees, and that's what gives you all kinds of nice forest perspective in the planting. So the forest looks bigger than it actually is. So I'm thinking this tree on the end here is still too tall. I'm going to reduce it back. There's not really a good place, so I'm just going to have to take it off right here. So here I go, like that. So the moss is kind of not looking the greatest. It was kind of shaded out in the interior here. So maybe with a bit more sunlight, it'll start growing well. Everything else is looking quite good with the planting. So I'll clean it up and we'll take one final look at it. Here's a look at how much foliage I took off this forest, quite a bit. I replaced the rocks in my Norfolk Island Pine forest with some better looking ones from my collection here, and I added some fresh moss to it just to dress it up a bit. So let's have a look at the forest now. Here's a look at the forest now. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here I go. And back to the front. So my goal, hopefully someday when these trees mature more, I can create kind of a penjing, a Norfolk Island penjing with a rocky shoreline and the Norfolk Island pines on the coast. I think that'd look really cool. So let's go now to the updates on the greenhouse, what I've been doing for the last couple of days. It is the next morning now, and my IBC, or my cube, is almost full. It's over 1,000 liters. So I got over 400 liters of rainwater last night, which is awesome. So after the heavy rains last night, it did fill a little bit with water in the one corner here. You can still see kind of some of the mud. So I'm going to dig it out a bit in the middle so the water kind of drains away from the edges more to the middle of the greenhouse. Now, once the greenhouse is built, it won't get water on the inside. It'll just be from me watering the plants, so it should be okay. But I might as well dig it out a bit in the middle just so everything slopes towards the center. All the trees are really well watered, so I won't have to water them today. I'm going to check the weather and see what's happening because I still have my succulents in the greenhouse. And if it's not going to rain today, I'll put them out on the bench. The ground has dried up a bit now. It's the afternoon, so I'm going to start digging it so it kind of pools in the middle, and maybe I'll even dig kind of a hole so all the water runs into the hole. I can fill that with gravel and sort of like a reservoir. So here I go. All right. Ground's nice and soft. In the middle there's the remains of our old cherry tree that grew. So it's just kind of the roots that are rotted in the ground now. They dig out quite easily. Did you want to come in here, did you? Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you want to come in here, eh? go. Come on in. Join the party. Getting all the bugs, are you? Worms? Well, there you go. Hi. Well, Laura, the one got up the nerve to come in with me.
Really?
Yeah.
Indian runner did? Oh, her. She's probably quite lame lately.
Yeah. She decided just to hop right on in.
How did she get up there, though?
She came over the edge. And you don't regret your decision, do you?
Huh. Seems pretty funny. I'm going to stop.
I know. Lots of worm.
I like her.
Yeah. Are you hopping out now? Had your fill? See you later. I was in at the library today, checking out the makerspace. It's open once again, so you can go in. And it was nice talking to Eric again. So I'll have to get some more 3D printed projects on the go. Stephanie, who used to work there, had a baby. So I saw the pictures, baby boy. It was quite exciting. I just noticed in the middle of the flowers there was the soil compactor that Zin brought over. It's been there for, I don't know, when we started the project. So I'll have to get that back to Zin. Here's a look at the pile of soil I have now. It's getting quite large. So I'll be using this soil to level out the area where my bonsai benches are now. And a lot of people have been asking me about the large greenhouse. Well, this is the wall of it here. And the arches will go down over this bonsai area. And it may be a screen house in the summer and a greenhouse in the winter. I don't know yet, but yeah, so it'll be this section. And that'll be my large greenhouse. So it's getting better here, but I still have a lot of leveling to go. It's still really high here. I gotta take some off the corner, all around here. Yeah, it's still quite high. What better way to spend a Wednesday afternoon? I think I have most of the basic grading done. I just have some cleanup work to make it a little smoother. And I think that'll do it quite nicely. The water won't pool around the foundation there. It'll kind of pool in the middle. I think that'll do nicely for the grading in here. I've got the gravel on order. It should be coming tomorrow or the next day. I've ordered the benches for the greenhouse, the aluminum benches, and all the caulking for the windows. So that's going to take a couple of weeks before it's ready, and I'm going to drive the truck down and pick it up. So that'll be really fun. I think that's about it for updates on the greenhouse. So I'm waiting for the gravel. Once that comes in, I'll start putting it in the floor here, and I can also start working on these upper blocks here around the wall. It is the next morning, and we had heavy rains once again last night. And you can see in the middle of the glass greenhouse floor area here that the water did indeed pool up in the center and not around the edges by the foundation. So that's good. And I may still dig that kind of
hole in the middle and fill that with gravel, so any water just runs down into the hole. We got down to 10 degrees Celsius last night, so it's getting kind of cool at nights now. I had the heat on in the greenhouse and it's still on, so let's just see how the plants are doing in here. So all the succulents are inside on the floor to keep them out of the rain. And it looks like it's it's about 20 in here. That's what this one says anyway. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, this one says about 22. So that's a good temperature. That's nice and warm in there. I better close the door once again because it is still quite cool outside. So yeah, the long range forecast looks like we've got cool weather at nights coming up. You know, nothing really cold yet, but definitely tapering down from the summer heat. The rain today has finally stopped and the sun is coming out, which is good to see. So while it was raining today, I worked on the tree up here. So this Manitoba maple here, all the branches were overhanging the greenhouse, and it was kind of making this side of the greenhouse quite dark. So I got up there on the ladder and I did a lot of pruning. So now I've got to clean up all these branches that I have down here. You can see them all in this area, so I can't get through here. So I'll have to drag them to the stick pile in the backyard where they'll decompose. And then I can get into the greenhouse and get all my succulents back onto the bench. I've got the greenhouse area all cleaned up now, which is good. I put on the table over here some trees that when Bonsai Jay visits, which should be soon, he can have these trees to take home with him. So I've got a Brazilian rain tree, actually two of them, some cuttings, a birch tree, and some cashew seedlings. So there's a couple of pots of cashews there. I just won't have room in the plant room to keep everything, so I'm just keeping one pot full of cashews for myself and giving all the rest away. And if he can't use both pots, hopefully he can find someone to give them to in the future. So that'll be really fun having Bonsai Jay back in the bonsai zone for a visit this fall. In the greenhouse here, I have lots of seedlings I can give away too. Some of these Hawaiian hibiscus, I can give Bonsai Jay a couple of those. I've got Jerusalem thorns over here. I've got a whole tray full of those. I can give some of those away. I've got my French lilac cuttings, which took. You can see the green buds on them still and a leaf on the one. So they took quite well. Someone was asking about the cotoneaster cuttings. They rooted. I gave those a pot full of them to Isabella because I'm just going to keep the one parent tree. So yeah, they rooted really easily. And then I've got a lot of seeds here. I've got some of these European pines. I forget what kind. Stone pines? I don't know. I can't remember what kind they are. I've got some climbing aloe cuttings in here. What else? Portulacaria afra cuttings. I guess that's about it. Not too much else on the go. I gave a lot of these cuttings away to Isabella too, so that was good. I need to cut down a little, you know, just keeping one of each species, give the rest away. Got some good flowers in the greenhouse. I have these Madagascar jasmines, flowering nice, smelling nice. The bougainvillea has come out again, and my lens is fogging up. And I've got the pink bougainvilleas here. I guess it's quite humid in the greenhouse right now.
The load of gravel for the greenhouse floor didn't come in today, so it should come tomorrow, so I'll be quite busy tomorrow hauling gravel. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.